Greetings from Electrically. In this video, we are going to discuss the topic called network components of elements, right? Network components of elements. Okay. Now, in this video, in this topic, what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss various elements which are used for modeling of circuit or network in our electrical engineering. Okay. So, according to this statement, I have written here, all our practical applications in electrical engineering are our components. Okay. Now, observe this statement, all our practical applications in electrical engineering are our components. Now, these practical applications, for example, let's take an example of heater, electrical heater. Okay. For example, heater, okay, it's an application of electrical engineering. That is nothing but it is converting our electrical energy into usable part, that is nothing but heat energy. Okay, from electrical to heat conversion we use heater. Okay, right. Now the next statement is what? But when these components are modeled mathematically as a circuit or a network, we use fundamental network component such as voltage, current, resistor, inductor, capacitor, etc. to model them. Okay, you take any electrical application, let's take electrical heater, let's take electrical fan, that is nothing but what? Or a ceiling fan. Okay, so when this component, when these electrical appliances are modeled mathematically as a circuit, now if we want to represent the heater in the form of one circuit or in the form of a network, then in order to represent that heater in the form of some circuit or network, we will use some fundamental network components. Okay, some fundamental network elements, such as we need to use some fundamental network components or elements such as voltage, current, resistor, inductor, capacitor. Okay, to model them. Okay, for example, I have taken here an example of heater. Now, in order to represent the heater in the form of some circuit or in the form of some circuit or network, this heater, what this heater will do? This heater will convert electrical energy into heat energy. Okay. Now, always remember, among these components, among this VIRLC component, our resistor will represent the dissipation of heat. Resistor is a converting element. Okay, it is a bleeder. Okay, resistor is also called as bleeder in electrical circuit. It bleeds the electrical energy in the form of heat. Okay, and in case of heater, what we need? We need heat energy as a output. We are giving it electrical input or electrical energy and we are getting heat energy. Okay, so in order to represent my whole heater in the form of one circuit or in the form of some element, we will use resistor as an element. Okay, so we will represent heater in the form of resistor. Okay, so heater, for example, this is my some circuit. Okay, and this is my heater. Okay, this heater can be represented with resistor. Okay, this is my plus minus voltage and some current will flow, right? And this is my volt, this is my considered as heater, right? Because it is converting element. Resistor is a dissipating element. Okay, it is dissipating electrical energy in the form of heat. Okay, so take any application in electrical engineering. Okay, and if that element is converting our electrical energy in the form of heat, for example, let's take an iron, right? That clothing iron. Okay, that can be also represented with the form of what? Resistor, because it is giving at what? Output. It is giving output as what? Heat. Okay, so that iron, it can also be represented with some resistance. It is highly resistive. Definitely coil will be there, inductive coil will be there, but it is highly resistive circuit. Similar to that, our heater is highly resistive circuit. Okay, so when we want to represent heater in the form of some element, we use resistor. Okay, now let's take another example, electric fan or ceiling fan. Okay, ceiling fan Ceiling fan is an example of what? RLC network or RLC circuit. Okay, why I am saying RLC? Yeah, electric fan. If I give here some AC voltage, my current will flow through my main winding, which will be RL. Okay, this is my auxiliary winding, which is also RL, and this will be my capacitor. Okay, so you can observe here I have taken all the three elements RLC, all the three passive elements, because fan is an example of what? Capacitor start, capacitor run, induction motor. Induction motor is an example, can be represented with RL load. Okay, so here capacitor we are using for what? For starting purpose. Okay, so now in order to represent that starting of the single phase induction motor, we will take the help of capacitor. Okay, this capacitor is representing what? Starting of the single phase induction motor. Okay, and this resistor, why we are using resistor in case of single phase induction ceiling fan? Because whenever we touch the working electric fan, we will feel heat, like that fan will get heated. Okay, that is nothing but that is nothing but what? Dissipation of energy in the form of heat. Okay, any electrical appliances, for example a transmission line or any electrical motor, what will happen? It will dissipate the heat, it will get heated. But in case of our heater, that heat is what? Useful energy or non-useful energy? It is useful energy, because at output we need as heat energy. That's why in case of heater, my heat energy is considered as useful energy. But in case of fan or in case of any transmission line or any other electrical equipment, okay, that heat is nothing but what? Undesirable part. But that undesirable part is nothing but what? Heat. Okay, and that is undesirable. But that heat is inevitable, which cannot be neglected or which cannot be prevented. Why? Because it is an intrinsic property of any conductor which is having resistance. It is a physical property of any conductor which is having resistance. Okay, that in turn will dissipate the heat energy. Okay, that in turn will dissipate heat energy, and that heat energy, that losses in the system in the form of heat can be represented with the help of what? Resistor. Okay, that's why we are using here R component. This is my main winding and this is my auxiliary winding. Okay, fine. And the inductor, why we are using inductor? Because in the electric fan, what is happening? We are giving electrical input, and at output we are getting what? Mechanical output, because it is a motor, right? It is single phase induction motor. Now what is the purpose of motor? It will convert electrical to mechanical. Okay, so definitely some energy conversion is taking place from electrical to mechanical. Okay, now to represent that energy conversion, we take the help of what? Inductor. Presence of inductor is nothing but what? Presence of magnetic field or reactive power. Okay, that resistor represents what? Active power. Okay, resistor represents active power and inductor will represent what? Reactive power. Without reactive power, there won't be any energy conversion from electrical to mechanical or mechanical to electrical. So in order to represent that energy conversion or that magnetic field inside the single phase induction motor, we are taking the help of inductor. Okay, so let me write here resistor. In case of electric fan or ceiling fan, we are taking the help of resistor. It represents heat dissipation or losses, okay, which are inevitable. Okay, now this inductor represents presence of magnetic field, right? Presence of magnetic field, and this capacitor represents what? For starting purpose, starting phenomena or purpose, for starting purpose, right? This induction single phase induction motor, the ceiling fan induction motor is also called as what? Capacitor start and capacitor run, because without capacitor or single phase induction motor won't get started. That's why capacitor is important. Okay, fine. This is about my some examples for this statement. All our practical applications like heater or any electrical appliance like a heater or fan in our electrical engineering are our components, right? These are our components. But when these components are modeled mathematically as a circuit, when this component is modeled into this circuit or network, we use fundamental network component. We use fundamental network component like R, I, V, right? Then my L, my C. Okay, we use fundamental network components such as V, I, voltage, current, resistor, inductor, capacitor to model them. Okay, so I hope you have understood the basic concept regarding network components of elements. Okay, one by one we will see what is resistor, what is voltage, what is current, what is inductor, okay, what is Ohm's law. Okay, the next topic is Ohm's law, right? Fine. Now our next topic is what are the lumped parameters and what are the distributed parameters. Okay, I hope you are familiar with this words, what is lumped parameter, what is distributed parameter. Okay, this is very easy. Okay, for electric circuit we use lumped parameters. Okay, what I am saying here, modeling at a one point by neglecting parametric changes, that is nothing but lumped parameter. Now listen here. For example, this is my transmission line, this is my transmission line. For example, this is 10 kilometer. Let's say it is a 10 kilometer line. Okay, okay. If it is 10 kilometer line, then I can lump this 10 kilometer line into single resistor or single inductor or single capacitor in the form of what? RLC circuit. Okay, we are lumping the resistor, inductor, capacitor by neglecting parametric changes or surrounding condition or environmental condition. Here we are not taking length as a function. Okay, here our resistor, inductor and capacitors are here. Our resistance, inductance and capacitance is not a function of length in case of lumped parameter. Okay, let me write here. Here resistor, inductor and capacitance is not a function of length. Okay, I will not take here like for 1 kilometer my resistance is 1 ohm, for a second for 2 kilometer my resistance is 2.5 ohm. Like that we are not going to take in the lumped parameter. We are going to lump, okay, or we are going to abstract this 10 kilometer line into one single resistance, inductance and capacitance. Let's take an example, a simple example here. For example, a final year BTech student is going for an interview. Okay, and that interviewer asks regarding, tell me something about your last year BTech project, right? Now that what that interviewer is expecting, that you should be able to tell your last year project with abstract manner. Okay, now what I mean by that abstract model, okay, instead of telling all that process we have done that, what he is expecting, tell me in crux manner, tell me about the gist. Okay, tell me the gist of your project within 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, now conversion of that big thesis into 2-minute conversation about your project. Okay, what we are doing, we are converting, instead of telling all that thesis part, Okay, we are telling him into gist. Okay, only that crux part of the project that I have done project on this topic, and we have come across this result. Okay, and this is about my project. This is what we call a lumping, telling in abstract. So this lumped parameter is also called as what? Abstract model. Okay, instead of telling so much things or total things, we are telling only gist. Okay, we are lumping our whole thesis into a small part or small conversation for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, that is nothing but the meaning of lumped parameter. Okay, and in electric circuit, in this subject, we are going to talk about only lumped parameters, not distributed parameters. Okay, now what are the advantages of distributed parameter? What are the disadvantages of lumped parameter? Okay, that we will understand after taking distributed parameter. Okay, then we will compare both lumped parameter and distributed parameters. Okay, for example, here we have taken distributed parameter, right? Here passive elements, here what I am saying, passive elements like resistance, inductance and capacitance are functions of length. For example, this is my transmission line. Okay, for example, this is my transmission line, that is 10 kilometer line. Okay, here what I am saying, here my passive elements like R, L, C are functions of length. Okay, so here we will do analysis in per kilometer manner or per meter manner. Okay, for this is my first kilometer, this is my second, third, fourth, like that we have 10 kilometer line. Okay, now this for this 1 kilometer line, for this 1 kilometer section, my resistance value is, let's say, 1 ohm. For my this from let's take this is O, A, B, C, D and all that. Okay, for example, my resistance value RAB is equal to what? 1 ohm. Okay, then my OB value will be how much? 2 ohms. Okay, my OB, this is my O and this is my B, that is 2 ohms. Okay, then OC is how much? 3 ohms and like that. Here what is happening? At the length, at particular length, my resistance, my inductance, my capacitance is what? Varying with respect to length. So here we have taken parametric changes into consideration, environmental condition into consideration. Okay, so these kind of models we are called as what? Distributed model or absolute model. Why? Because here we have considered parametric changes, okay, like length, temperature, humidity or any environmental conditions. Okay, now what is the advantage of this distributed model? After taking length as a function of my passive element, here our answer will get, here the analysis will get exact. Okay, here we will get accurate value. Why? Because we are taking all the conditions into consideration. But in case of lump parameter, we have not taken any parametric changes, or we have not taken length as a function. Okay, length as a function of resistance, inductance, capacitance. But what is the advantages of my lump system? Here my analysis becomes easy. Okay, because we are lumping the system into single resistor or single inductor or single capacitor. So analysis becomes easier. Things will not get complex. We will not get any tedious solution. Okay, simple nodal analysis, simple mesh analysis, KCL, KVL, we will require for the analysis only. Okay, then simple to represent. Okay, here you can see this transmission line, this whole transmission line is represented with just a single resistor. So this is simple representation. But here this total transmission line, this total 10 kilometer transmission line will be divided into 10 sections. Okay, and there we will use the calculus, right, as a mathematical part, which is a complex mathematical subject. Okay, here tedious differential equations will come into picture, right, which is complex to model. Okay, but the analysis gets complex, right, here analysis gets complex. Okay, things becomes complex. right? Here things are not simple, but here we will get accurate answer. Okay, here we will get accurate answer. So this model is called as what? This distributed parameters, or this model is also called as what? Absolute model, because here we are not neglecting any parametric changes like length, temperature, humidity, etc., etc. Okay, and this lumped parameters, these lumped parameters are also called as what? Abstract model. Abstract means what? Tell me in a very brief manner. Okay, tell me in very brief manner. But in the but here distributed parameter are what? We need to explain everything. Okay, that is nothing but lengthy approach. Okay, and this is my short approach. Okay, so here things will become very easy to understand, easy to model, easy to analyze, and easy mathematical analysis will be done here. Okay, in case of lumped parameter. So always remember, in case of electric circuit, we will always use lumped parameter. Here my resistor, inductor, capacitor will not change with respect to length. Okay, now the best example for this lumped parameter is what? My short transmission line or medium transmission line. Okay, because in short transmission line or medium transmission line, our resistor, inductor, capacitor will not change with respect to length. Okay, here length we can neglect. Variation of RLC with respect to length can be neglected in case of short medium transmission line. Okay, but it does not mean that we will get wrong analysis or wrong answer. We will get answer, but it will be closer to the accurate answer. For example, my accurate answer is, for example, 10 units. Then with the lumped parameter approach, we will get 9 units, 8.5 units. Okay, for the analysis part, we can use this distributed model. Okay, we will get close answers. Okay, but then where we will use this distributed parameter or distributed model? In case of analysis of long transmission line, because here length of a line is what? More than 160 kilometers. Okay, so here we need to use distributed parameter. Here we need to analyze a transmission line with respect to with the function of length. Okay, lengthwise we need to analyze the long transmission line, then only we will get accurate answer. Okay, for this long transmission line now, if we go for a lumped parameter approach, we will also get answer, but it will be so much deviated from the accurate answer. That's why we can't use what we can say, lumped parameter or abstract model for the analysis of transmission line or for the analysis of long transmission line, but we can go for short transmission line and medium transmission line with some approximations, right? We will get their approximate answer, but in case of distributed model, for the analysis of long transmission line, we will get accurate answer. Okay, with the help of distributed parameter or absolute model. Here calculus part is coming, right? It is a mathematical branch which is very complex, which is very hard to understand. Okay, various differential equations will come, tedious solution will, tedious means what? Very long mathematical analysis will come into picture, but here things will get accurate. Here we will get accurate voltage regulation, accurate efficiency of the system, accurate quantities we can get with the help of absolute model or distributed parameters. That is the main difference between what we can say, lumped parameters and distributed parameters, right? I hope this lumped and distributed concept is clear to you. In the whole electrical circuit subject, we will always go for lumped parameters. Okay, but for EMF subject, electromagnetic field theory subject, we will always go for distributed parameter, where various parametric changes will come into consideration, like length, temperature, humidity, all those. Okay, fine. Now here you can see disadvantages of distributed parameters are what? It is complex to model. As I have told you, calculus will come into picture, differential equations, lengthy solutions. Okay, calculus is involved, and tedious solution. Tedious means lengthy mathematical approach is necessary. Okay, more complex terms will come into picture. Okay, that is a disadvantage of distributed parameter. But the advantage is what? It gives accurate value. It gives accurate value. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about Ohm's law, right? The statement is given here. As per the statement, the current flowing through a conductor, okay, the current flowing through the conductor between the 2 point, the current flowing through the conductor between the 2 point is directly proportional to the voltage applied across the 2 point. Okay, what is it saying? The current flowing through my conductor is directly proportional to the voltage applied across that conductor. It is directly proportional to the voltage applied across that conductor. That is nothing but the statement of Ohm's law. Okay, now we know that every conductor have its physical property, physical intrinsic property, which will oppose the flow of current, or which will oppose the flow of charges. That property is called as what? Resistance. Okay, if my resistance is more, then my current will be less. If my resistance is less, my current will be more. Okay, so my current and resistor are what? Inversely proportional to each other. So my current and resistor are what? Inversely proportional to each other, because if the opposition to the current is less, that is nothing but if resistance is less, my current will be more. Okay, and if my opposition is more, then my current will be less. In that sense, I am saying current and resistance are having inverse proportionality, right? So from this and this, okay, what we can write? Current is equal to V by R. Okay, so this current is directly proportional to voltage and inversely proportional to the what? Resistance. This is nothing but the statement of Ohm's law. Okay, but here I have written one more statement. Ohm gave Ohm's law in terms of linear time invariant system. That is nothing but homogeneous system. Homogeneous system means what? It follows linearity. Okay, linearity means what? Homogeneity means what? It does not change with respect to time. Okay, it should not change with respect to temperature. That is nothing but at constant temperature. Okay, physical parameter of my conductor should not change. For example, my cross section area should not change. That is nothing but what? Linearity or homogeneity. That is nothing but linear time invariant system. Okay, first Ohm's law, Ohm gave Ohm's law in terms of what? LTI system. Okay, so let's talk about this LTI system. In LTI system, that is linear time invariant system, which follows homogeneity, which follows linearity. Okay, according to LTI system, at constant temperature, J is equal to sigma E. Now why I am writing this equation? Because this is the first Ohm's law. We know that only V is equal to IR is Ohm's law, but it is not like that. It is one of the Ohm's law. Okay, this is called as first Ohm's law. First Ohm's law, which is derived from EMF concept, distributed concept, from absolute model. J is equal to sigma E, where J is what? Electrical current density. Electrical current density. My sigma is electrical conductivity. Okay, electrical conductivity. And my E is what? This E is what? It is my electric field intensity or electric field. Electric field intensity. Now what I will do? I will derive my V is equal to IR, okay, which is the second Ohm law. I will derive my second Ohm law, V is equal to IR, from this equation, from EMF. From EMF I will derive my V is equal to IR formula. Okay, how? Just observe here. This current density can be written as what? Current upon area of cross section, right? This is the formula of current density. This sigma is conductivity, which is a constant. Okay, it depends on the material of the conductor. Okay, and this electric field intensity is what? Voltage per unit length. Okay, now after rearranging all these elements, V is equal to I by A into L divided by sigma, which can be rewritten as L upon sigma into A. Okay, and this is I and this is V. We know that constructional formula for resistance. Construction formula for resistance is what? R is equal to rho L upon A, where rho is what? Resistivity. L is what? Length of conductor. A is what? Cross section area of a conductor. Okay, and this resistivity and conductivity have inverse proportionality. So instead of 1 by sigma, what I will write? L into rho divided by A into I is equal to V. I have written this rho from this relation. Okay, because here we have sigma and here we have rho, which is having inverse proportionality. Okay, 1 by sigma is rho. Okay, so we know that the resistance formula is rho L by A, here also rho L by A. So this is V is equal to R into I. This is nothing but the second Ohm's law. This is my second Ohm's law, which we will use in electric circuit. Okay, this J is equal to sigma E we will mainly use in EMF subject, because it is distributed parameter. It is an absolute model, right? There we will use this Ohm's law, J is equal to sigma E. But in case of electric circuit, as our parameters are what? Lumped parameters, where parametric changes are not allowed, there we will use V is equal to IR. Okay, in whole electric circuit we will use only this Ohm's law, V is equal to IR Ohm's law. Okay, we will not use J is equal to sigma E. Okay, so from this EMF model, from this J is equal to sigma E, we have derived this V is equal to IR. Okay, so the original form is what? Original form of Ohm's law is what? J is equal to sigma E, which is in EMF, concept. Okay, and from this EMF concept we have what we have done? We have derived this V is equal to IR, which is called as second Ohm's law. Okay, so the first Ohm's law is, this is my first Ohm law and this is my second Ohm law. From this, what conclusion I can draw? This is for linear time invariant system. Okay, so conclusion. This conclusion is very important from the exam point of view. Okay, so in linear time invariant system, any material can be modeled as what? Resistor. In linear time invariant system, any material in linear time invariant system can be modeled as what? Resistor. This conclusion we can draw from this discussion from first and second Ohm law. Okay, now let's see how we will represent this V is equal to IR in the graphical form on the VI plane. Okay, let me draw the VI plane here. This is my y axis, this is my x axis. Okay, fine. This is my current axis, this is my voltage axis. We know that V is equal to IR. From that we can write I is equal to V by R. Okay, that is nothing but I is equal to 1 by R into V. Okay, so this, observe this equation, this is similar to what? Y is equal to mx, which is the equation of line which is passing through origin. Okay, y is equal to mx. I hope you know this concept. Y is equal to mx. So on y we have current, right? On v we have on y we have current, right? This is my y axis, this is my x axis, that is nothing but voltage. Okay, and this is my what? M is nothing but what? Slope of the line is nothing but what? 1 by R. Okay, this is representing what? 1 by R. This is 1 by R. This is the slope of the line. This is how we can represent the Ohm's law, V is equal to IR on VI plane. Okay, this is the VI characteristic, voltage current characteristic on VI plane. Okay, for the Ohm's law, right? In the linear time invariant system, right? So here we can see it is a linear device. Okay, it is a linear device because here we have neglected the parametric changes such as saturation, temperature, all that. Okay, so here you can see it is rising like linear manner. Okay, so it's a linear device. So what we can comment on this graph, in linear time invariant system any material can be modeled as resistor. So this resistor is what? Linear element, right? This is linear element. This is what? Passive. This is what? Passive, because this characteristic, the characteristic of resistor is falling between what? First quadrant and third quadrant. This is my first quadrant, this is my third quadrant. Okay, so whichever element's characteristic lies between first and third quadrant, that element is considered as what? Sink or passive. Okay, and whichever element's characteristic falls between second and fourth quadrant, this is my second quadrant, this is my fourth quadrant. Okay, whichever element's characteristic falls between second and fourth quadrant, that element is considered as what? Source element. Okay, or active element. Okay, but here resistor characteristic is falling in first and third quadrant. That's why resistor is considered as what? Passive element. It always dissipates electrical energy in the form of heat. That's why it is considered as passive element. Okay, which always absorbs, okay, which dissipates the heat. Okay, it is a bleeder. Resistor is considered as a bleeder of electric circuit because it bleeds out electrical energy in the form of heat, in the form of loss. Okay, that's why resistor is considered as passive, and it is bilateral device. And it is what? Bilateral device. Resistor is also what? Bilateral device, because it is independent on the direction of the current. Resistor is independent on the direction of the current. Like, right? For example, if I take the example of diode is what? Unidirectional device, because only if current flows through only one direction only, then only my diode will work. If current flows in opposite to the direction of diode, then my diode will not conduct, it will get reverse biased. But that is not the case of resistor or inductor or capacitor. They are what? Linear, passive and bilateral devices. All my resistor, inductor and capacitors, all are my linear, passive, because the characteristic all of the three lies between first and third quadrant. Okay, it is passive and it is bilateral. They are independent on the direction of the current. Okay, fine. This resistor is a linear, passive and bilateral device. Okay, fine. This conclusion is very important. Okay, from linear time invariant system. In linear time invariant system, any material can be modeled as resistor. Okay, now in the note point I gave in terms of linear time invariant system, that is homogeneous system. And now the second system is what? Electromagnetic domain or electromagnetic system. Okay, electromagnetic domain. Okay, here we will come across third and fourth Ohm's law. Okay, give heading as just a minute. Yes. Now our second domain is what? Electromagnetic domain. Electromagnetic domain. Whenever I talk about magnetism or electromagnetism, their inductor will come into picture. Okay, and whenever I talk about static system or electrostatic domain, their capacitor will come into picture. Okay, so in electromagnetic domain, we are going to see the Ohm's law for inductor. Okay, so in the EMF model, we can write psi is equal to what? L into I, where psi is what? Flux linkage, L is what? Inductance, and I is what? Current flowing through the coil. Okay, psi is what? Flux linkages. Flux linkage, what is the meaning of flux linkages? It is the flux line, number of flux lines linking to the number of turns, right? What is inductor? This is the inductor, this is what? Coil. Okay, these are the number of turns, right? These are what? These are the number of turns. Okay, and we know that as soon as current flows through it, we know that every current carrying conductor will produce what? Magnetic field around it. Okay, and that is the interaction of what? Magnetic field and electric field, electrical current. Okay, that is nothing but what? Electromagnetic domain. Okay, which talks about inductor. Okay, so in EMF, this is the third Ohm law. Third Ohm's law in the EMF model. Okay, now we can write from this model what we can derive? V is equal to L di by dt. This is the, from this EMF model we can derive the formula or the Ohm's law for the inductor in the electric circuit. Okay, this is for EMF, this is for distributed parameter. Okay, and this is for lumped parameter. In the electric circuit subject, for the understanding the behavior of inductor, we will use this formula. This is the Ohm's law, that is the fourth Ohm's law for inductor. Okay, so V is equal to L di by dt, where V is what? Voltage. Okay, voltage across the coil. L is what? Inductance. Okay, and this di is what? Di by dt is what? Rate of change of current. Okay, it is a rate of change of current. Okay, current is changing with respect to time. That is nothing but sinusoidal in nature. Okay, this is the fourth Ohm's law for inductor. Now what will happen if I give DC supply to the inductor? If I give DC supply to the inductor, this di by dt will get what? 0, because there is no change in current with respect to time, because here we are giving DC supply. Okay, as soon as we give DC supply to the inductor, this di by dt will become what? 0. This di by dt will become what? 0. Okay, and as soon as this di by dt will become 0, the voltage across inductor becomes 0 volts. Now how to represent 0 volts? By using short circuit. Okay, by using short circuit. Voltage is 0 means what? It is short circuit. Voltage is, current is 0 means what? Open circuit. Voltage is 0 means short circuit. Short circuit. That is the reason when we give DC supply to the inductor, what happens to the inductor? It gets short circuited. Right? Whenever I give DC supply to the inductor, it gets short circuited. When we give DC supply to the inductor, it gets short circuit. Okay, now from this formula, V is equal to L di by dt, from this formula what conclusion we can write? That is the conclusion for electromagnetic domain. Okay, for electromagnetic domain, what conclusion I can write? Any material in electromagnetic domain, any material in electromagnetic domain can be modeled as inductor. Okay, any material in the electromagnetic domain can be modeled as inductor, and any material in the linear time invariant system can be modeled as resistor. Okay, this conclusion is very important. This conclusion is very important. Whenever I talk about electromagnetic domain, there I am talking about inductor. Whenever I am talking about electrostatic domain, there I am talking about capacitor or capacitance. Right, now let's see the VI characteristic of the inductor. This is my y axis, this is my x axis, V axis, this is my di by dt axis, right, because we know that V is equal to L di by dt, and according to y is equal to mx, there is nothing but this is y, this x is what? Di by dt, and my m slope is representing what? L. So this is my slope. This is straight line passing through the origin according to y is equal to mx. So this is my inductor. Right, this is the VI characteristic of inductor, similar to the resistor. Okay, so here we can see it is linear, right, it is linear, same as resistor. Okay, it is linear because there is no saturation. Okay, that's why this inductor is considered as what? Linear in electric circuit. But when we come across EMF model, their saturation, magnetic saturation will come into picture. Okay, but here in the electric circuit, as we are using a lumped parameters, there we are neglecting all the parametric changes, all the physical changing physical manner, all physical changes we are neglecting, right? So here we are neglecting saturation in electric circuit. Okay, that's why it is a linear component. But when we talk about EMF concept or distributed model, there magnetic saturation will come into picture. Okay, but in electric circuit we will not consider any saturation. Okay, that's why inductor is considered as linear. Okay, and it is passive. Why? Because it is its characteristic is lying between first and third quadrant. Okay, this is my first quadrant, this is my third quadrant. That's why it is a passive element or sink element. Sink is nothing but passive, like resistor. Okay, and it is a bilateral device because it is its position, its working is independent on the what we can say, the direction of current. Okay, whether my current is coming from left to right or right to left, it will give me same answer. Okay, and that inductor will give me same answers. That's why it is a bilateral device, right? So inductor is a linear, passive and bilateral device. Okay, now this is the third and fourth Ohm's law. This is my third Ohm law, psi is equal to Li according to EMF model or a distributed model, and from this EMF model I have derived V is equal to L di by dt. I have written it here directly, V is equal to L di by dt. There is a small derivation, I am not going into that. Okay, that you will see in the EMF subject. Okay, but remember, from psi is equal to Li, from flux linkage is equal to Li, from this I have derived V is equal to L di by dt. This is the Ohm's law for inductor in electric circuit. Okay, fine. and any material in the electromagnetic domain can be modeled as inductor. Whenever I am talking about electromagnetic system or only magnetic system na, then that material or that phenomena can be modeled into what? Inductor, which is a passive linear and bilateral component. Okay, now our third domain is what? Electrostatic domain. Electrostatic domain. In the electrostatic domain, as you can see in the word itself, it is a static. Electrostatic here means what? Here my charges are what? In the static position, they are stationary, so they creates what? Electric field. Static charges only creates electric field but not magnetic field. Always remember, only moving charges will produce magnetic field. Okay, so whenever I am talking about electrostatic domain, here I am talking about capacitor. Capacitor is also called as what? Condenser. Why it is called as condenser? Because charges are getting condensed on the plate of the capacitor. They are not moving. There is a phenomena called displacement current in the capacitor, because there is a dielectric medium between two plates. How current will flow? There is no phenomena of conventional current like in our circuit. Okay, there is no conventional there is no phenomena of conventional current. There is a phenomena of displacement current, because dielectric is what? Dielectric is a special insulator which exhibits polarization phenomena, and due to alternating position of the AC supply, because of that AC supply, what happens? Charges gets displaced inside the dielectric medium at the plates of the capacitor, and because of the displacement, what happens? Displacement current will flow in the dielectric medium. Displacement current will flow through that capacitor plates. Okay, that is the concept behind the capacitor that we will see in further lectures. Okay, but for time being, always remember electrostatic domains mean electrostatic domain means what? Capacitor. Okay, or condenser. Okay, so here we will see our fifth and sixth Ohm's law for capacitor. First we will see Ohm's law in EMF model or absolute model. That is nothing but Q is equal to CV. Q is equal to CV, where Q is what? Where Q is charge, C is what? Capacitance, and V is what? Voltage applied across the plates of capacitor. Voltage applied across plates of capacitor. Okay, so this is my fifth Ohm's law. Fifth Ohm's law for in EMF model. Okay, in the distributed model, in the absolute model. Now what we will do? We will derive sixth Ohm's law for the capacitor for the electric circuit. Okay, for the electric circuit, from this we will derive our sixth Ohm's law for electric circuit for the capacitor. Okay, from this what we can write? I is equal to C dV by dt. This is my sixth Ohm's law. This is my sixth Ohm's law. This is sixth Ohm's law. Okay, where I is what? Current. Okay, my this C is what? Capacitance, and this dV by dt is what? Rate of change of voltage. Okay, now like inductor I have discussed, if I give DC supply to the inductor, there won't be any rate of change of current. That's why my voltage will get 0 in case of inductor. If I give DC, then that inductor will get what? Short circuit. Similar to that, if I give DC supply to my capacitor, what will happen? There won't be any dV by dt, because rate of change of voltage will not be there, because we are giving a constant value, that is DC value. Okay, so dV by dt will be 0. This will be 0 for DC supply if we give DC supply to capacitor. So my current will become what? 0, because this whole quantity, this quantity is getting what? 0. So this whole quantity will become what? 0. Now how to represent zero current in the circuit? By representing it with a open circuit. Okay, by open circuit. This can be represented with open circuit. That is the reason when we give supply, DC supply to the capacitor, the capacitor will get open circuited, right? My capacitor will get open circuited if I give DC supply to the capacitor. But for inductor, if I give DC supply, it will get short circuit. Okay, so if we give DC supply to capacitor, capacitor will get open circuit. Okay, this is the conclusion we can draw from this if we give DC supply. Okay, if we give DC supply, right? Now there is one more conclusion we can draw from this, I is equal to C dV by dt. Okay, from I is equal to C dV by dt. That is a conclusion. That is an important conclusion. Any material which is any material in electrostatic form can be modeled as capacitor. Okay, this is how we can understand our Ohm's law. First, the original form of Ohm's law is what? My EMF concept, like J is equal to sigma E, psi is equal to Li, and Q is equal to CV. These are my original forms of Ohm's law, and from this Ohm's law I have derived V is equal to IR, V is equal to L di by dt, and I is equal to C dV by dt. They are derived from EMF by using lumped by using lumped parameters that we are, and these formulas only we are using in electric circuit. V is equal to IR, V is equal to L d by dt, and I is equal to C dV by dt. We are no longer using J is equal to sigma E, psi is equal to Li, Q is equal to CV for the analysis of circuit and network. But these formula, like J is equal to sigma E, J is equal to sigma E, psi is equal to Li, and Q is equal to CV, we are using in EMF subject. Okay, there we are not going to use V is equal to IR, V is equal to L di by dt, and I is equal to C dV by dt. Okay, fine. I hope this Ohm's law is clear to you. Okay, these are Ohm's law, right? This is my, yes, this is my first Ohm's law, this is my second Ohm's law, this is my third Ohm's law for inductor, this is my fourth Ohm's law, V is equal to L di by dt, this is my fifth Ohm's law for capacitor, and this is my sixth Ohm's law for the capacitor, right? And these conclusions are very much important, these conclusions, right? Okay, fine. So with this note, I will conclude the lecture here. In the next lecture, we will see the definitions. Okay, we will see the definitions of what is voltage, what is current, what is resistance, right? What is inductance, what is capacitance, what is energy, what is power, okay, and their respective units, different types of units. For example, we know for the unit of a resistance only ohms, okay, but there is one more unit for resistance, okay, that will ask in exam. Same for inductance, same for capacitance, right? Same for power, same for energy. Okay, all those concepts we are going to see, all those definitions, their units and their formula. Okay, basic formula and constructional formula. Okay, all that we are going to see in the next lecture. Okay, till then, thank you.